fall. Expression picks up the kill. And that's going to be his first as he builds into that Rod of Ages. So caught out and alone, falling behind in CS still.
And we mentioned the win condition in the late game, and that's an eventual, that's with items, with levels, and of course, that timer is being reset and delayed further and further every successful gank that delays Sohan from those core items that will inevitably lead to him having the 1v1 advantage against Longzhu. If it's at 25, 28 minutes and they're 10k gold behind, though, it's not as much of a factor.
Yeah, this is great shot calling, though. That's who you want to focus right now if you have that opportunity. Take advantage of the Lissandra power spike at 6 and make the most of it to delay this Fiora's growth. It's just going to buy you more time to siege without worrying about a major split push from Fiora.
What a depressing item set. Double Ruby Crystal. Obviously will eventually lead into a Black Cleaver, but certainly not the order of items that he's looking for, and just necessary or necessitated into it with the bad back timings.
Yeah, Coco, is he hitting hard here onto Kuzan? Has quite a bit of cash to spend at the moment, but trying to make the most of his blue buff. Kuzan now heads back, will grab a blue buff of his own, and Coco remains in the mid lane.
Unperturbed.
Unperturbed. Assiduously killing minions.
Look at us and our big words.
I'm good at that, Papa Smithy. Some call me Sesquipedalian.
Do they, though?
They do.
Take your word for it. That eloquency factor will go down.
I could have just made that word up. Nobody knows.
It's fair. I got no idea. I'm nodding my head. I'm like, that's a word Monty would say. It's probably real. We should never play Scrabble. I'd challenge you every other word and lose horribly.
Sounds like we should play Scrabble.
Yeah, maybe the money matches are off.
The money matches, no Scrabble betting.
No Scrabble betting. No betting in Korea. Well, I guess we can bet, but probably not at home either.
That's actually true about betting. If you guys didn't know, Koreans can't gamble in casinos here, but if you are not Korean, you can.
You have to establish your non-Korean residency status, but yeah, that's the only way. So they accept our money, but and I guess to some degree our custom, but not for the locals.
Pretty funny stuff. Well, Janair here around the top side, but really vision dominance once again established by Chaser and Pure. There is a pink ward here for Sohan to try and keep him safe, but that's going to be rapidly cleared out as he is put in the dark once again by Chaser, who has cleared that pink ward out quite a few times this game. And that just causes Sohan to fall back. He is very scared. He doesn't see Chase on the map right now. And that means that's going to be a dead turret. Chaser putting on the pressure with Expression. Coco now back in the lane to catch the last few minions on this wave. And there's the first turret of the game, easily going over to Longzhu.
These aren't words I expected to say, but this has been a Chaser Rek'Sai masterclass in terms of the pressure around.
Great.
And it's the lane that he needed to be at. If you notice, Winged has been all over the map. Basically, after the failed gank and bot has kind of left it to the wolves, and the result has been that Chaser has so far snowballed this bot lane, and Winged has been very low percentage in his forces so far as Longzhu just take down the dragon as Janair basically watch.
And there we go. Coco actually going to get grabbed and destroyed right away. Kuzan with the burst damage. Captain Jack on the side right now. Chaos Storm moved over to him. Has to flash over the wall. He finds Che on the other side, who is quickly ripped back with a Fate's Call. Knockup comes through. And I don't know if they wanted that one, Che. I don't know if you wanted to push that button. You did not want to push that button with the Lissandra ultimate still available. So they trade 1-for-1 on what could have been quite easily a 1-for-none. But there's enough wave clear here. It doesn't look like Janair going to get much out of this as the Phosphorus Bomb falls and quickly clears out that situation. Sloppy fight from Longzhu and a great hook by Che to start things off.
An eventual 1-for-1, even though it was the nice pick from Che. But the dragon, crucially, swings this towards Longzhu, and that just means that the poke's going to get harder with that extra 6% stats.
Yeah, it definitely will, given a long enough timeline. Flash hook there, nice. Putting Coco right in the box. And we just have some action here as another gank onto Sohan is going to cut our little replay short. Sohan way in front of everything. Fortunately for him, not going to die despite having 0 vision in the bottom side jungle.
Gotta say, it must be very difficult shot calling wise to go from Trace to Sohan. Irrespective of what Trace was building, he is a safe laner first and foremost. And Sohan, he keeps pushing the boundaries as if this is a top level solo queue game, and has been rotated around for 13 minutes by first Chaser and now the rest of Longzhu.
Well, we see really, too, why Rek'Sai has been prioritized for Chaser. Truly great Rek'Sai players like Chaser and Bengi use the vision of the passive to do just wonderful things in terms of their pathing and outsmarting the opponent. The amount of information that it gives you as a top-tier jungler is pretty much second to none.
Well, let's extend that information word. What, of course, has been targeted the most in the preseason has been the removal of information, the removal of green wards, just in general, the sparing nature that you have to ward. It's one of those situations where, as a support, you have to use your wards so judiciously because you have less Insight Stone, you don't have green wards. The fact that you have those tremor sensors gives you so much more information. What's opened up the early play from Longzhu. So the information that's gone from green wards seems to be replaced in the choice of Rek'Sai, and maybe that will cause a champion who's otherwise unchanged to rise up the priority rankings.
Yeah, definitely still one of the top junglers, in spite of how much damage some of these other junglers can do. Priority here from Longzhu looks well placed in the first couple of games, given Chaser's excellent Rek'Sai play and his ability just to create vision on the map for his team and get as much information as possible. So do you see blue buff stolen right here, right under the nose of Sowan, who can't do much, and they are going to move towards the Rift Herald, and this is a perfect objective for Longzhu's composition.
I mean, game on game, this is a perfect improvement on their game one, where they had a lot of information but kind of fumbled it, kind of didn't use the vision advantage they had, didn't play around vision, and in the end kind of paid for it. And this game, so assertive, they've got the advantage. Sowan is basically a free kill, has no lane pressure wherever he goes, so pick up the enemy blue, pick up things like the Rift Herald, and now they even give it to Expression to compound what is a 2-level and massive gold advantage that Expression has over Sowan.
Right, and Jin Air too. Finally they have some wards on that side of the map, but Sowan's still so afraid of a dive here from Expression, like you said, with that level advantage and the completion of the first major item, even though it's still stacking up. Chaser is here again just to keep pushing down turrets. Normally we would have expected the Rift Herald buff to maybe go to Coco or Captain Jack. Coco was the one who was there, and start setting up for the 4-1, but just threatening Sowan more and more, just denying him. And this has been a really good strategic read by Longzhu, that they need to take out this Fiora first and foremost in this particular game, because it denies Jin Air their major win condition.
Although Baron damage isn't something that Longzhu have in spades, they get the Baron and suddenly Victor doesn't have the right wave clear to be able to clear the waves as they approach turrets. This game is going to go pedal to the metal very, very quickly. So Baron would be, I think, a tip too far from a Jin Air point of view, and from 20 minutes onwards they really need to keep vision around the Baron.
Yeah. Well, Longzhu now playing a little bit more defensively in that bottom side. Winged is there, but Chaser is too. Good wards, much better ward and vision control this game from Jin Air than we saw in the last one, where it's a bit lackluster. But Longzhu up a turret right now, and that is only going to continue as the game goes on. Coco actually rushing a Youmuu's Ghostblade this game.
It's been the big 80 item. You think about how 80 items have changed. Itemization for casters in particular is much more difficult. Ghostblade is the one item that saw basically a true buff through and through. It doesn't give critical strike anymore, but not that big a stat for Jace. So it is a very, very common rush. It shows he's not very worried about the magic damage coming through from Winged and Kuzan. And he's also got the the Trundle theoretically in a team fight to shred the armor that he's no longer able to quickly pick up, as armor penetration is much more difficult on the percentage side for a champion like Jace.
Well, I mean, even flat armor pen has been kind of dramatically reduced in terms of itemization in the game. So
funnily enough, Ghostblade and Maw, two of the only items that have that flat armor penetration.
The removal of Brutalizer certainly changed quite a bit. So we do have Coco now. You did see both side waves pushed up and everyone make moves, but they're not ready to commit to a mid-siege yet, despite putting two members of Jin Air in those side lanes.
Jin Air just need time. They specifically need time for Sowan to get these items, get these levels. If all four members are... Oh, as Captain Jack has the package. We haven't spoken about the package this game yet.
Well, we've never talked about Captain Jack's package, so...
We'll find time.
Okay, there it is, though, and Captain Jack... Well, that was different than what we saw from Faker, playing it a little risky there as Kuzan drops his ult on him right as he sails in.
I have to say, Faker's package usage, much cleaner than Captain Jack's.
Wow, bit risky there.
True analysis comments in 2016. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I have nothing to say about that, Papa Smoothie. No, your innuendo game is spot on today.
How about my analysis? All right?
Yeah, fantastic, as usual. We're going to take a look at the vision from both teams on the screen right now. Get a sense of the relative lack of information that Jin Air has. Pretty scary beyond that river.
Honestly,
watching some movement by Lysandra.
Just feels like Chaser turned on the style. This game, of course, has the tremor sense advantage that we've spoken to death about, but in general, Winged has been second to everything, or he's shown up for low percentage ganks, whereas Chaser's making plays and also smartly littering the Jin Air side with important wards.
Yep. And here he is, back again, ulting straight into the Raptor pit. So 2 dragons now taken by Longzhu. We got a nice, healthy lead on that objective.
Just wait for the 5-man grouping phase, because then the
That's what I am waiting for,
will
Papa
rain
Smitty.
down. You're always waiting for the 5-man grouping phase.
No, sometimes I like the split push game. Just depends on the strategy. I just like to see excellent strategy. So the 5-man grouping is going to be excellent strategy here from Longzhu, and of course that Trundle Pillar does make it very difficult to stop this. And Gravity Field, probably not going to do enough. You see Pure lurking around the side, and meanwhile Lysandra pushed up. They want to take this blue buff away.
Keep forcing things.
Okay, 2 blues now to Corki and Jace. This couldn't be going better for Longzhu.
Playing around the Lysandra has the big advantage over So1's Fiora. Fiora is literally dead weight. Might as well be a moving ward as this situation, because there's no 2v2 that Fiora is winning right now.
Absolutely not. Trying to get some extra tankiness there, building into the Titanic Hydra. They want to go on Chaser. Chaser is very tanky, though, and here comes Expression. Will get hooked right afterwards. Has to ult himself. Winged, going to repel right out of the middle of that fight. And now Longzhu coming back. Captain Jack with the first kill of the fight. They're going to pursue So1, and there's a flash knock-up onto him as they keep on running through the gate. He will get torn out of the middle of the Longzhu scrum with the Che Lantern. And then Expression is there in the mid lane, and the dive is going to be coming.
Waiting to see if they dive.
Oh yes, they will dive. Kuzan now there trying to escape, and he picks up 1 onto Expression. So1 now back, has TP'd into the fray, and he wants to get onto Captain Jack. That will be dodged. And Chaser may be the latest casualty as So1 respawns and turns the fight around.
Crucial, a lot of experience as well, killing the higher level Chaser. Jin Air might actually get a turret to answer.
It's time for some Coco heroics.
Sniper.
Sniper, there's going to be a huge hit onto Pilot. And now Coco still on the pursuit, going to drop a blue trinket into the brush, and he's going to use the Ghost Blade. He wants to go on the offensive, but it looks like they might just be a little bit too fast. There's another shot. Not going to hit.
Always exciting to track Jace, because you just know at this point in the game, either you're chunking people or you're tickling them, depending on how your early game has gone. And at 2-1-1 with a slight CS advantage, it's gone pretty well. Remember, Jin Air did initiate this fight.
Shay played this really well, all things considered, though. Great hook onto Expression at the end of his frozen path.
At the initial pick, Captain Jack picked up a kill. They looked for a lot more, did Longzhu, though. It was the Lantern that really spared the blushes of So1, because if a second person got down, that teleport play could never have happened.
Yeah, So1 backing off, healing up, and then TPing right back onto the dive. So Longzhu a bit of overcommitment. They didn't have a Lysandra ult, and that allowed Kuzan to walk forward and pick up the kill onto Expression. But certainly all is not lost. A very large gold lead here at 22 minutes of 6,000 for Longzhu as they take a 3-turret lead.
And look, there is one item finished on So1. It is working towards ostensibly the Black Cleaver as a second item. Both those items are picked up. This is not really a 3-item put together from Expression, even with the gold lead that can really answer So1's split push. So the split push game, it's certainly been delayed, but 10 minutes from now, if this game is still relatively even, 4-1 is certainly an option for Jin Air.
Yeah, Longzhu has to get this mid turret and continue to control this dragon. 1.5 minutes until number 3, and taking out mid would be a nice step forward to continuing to control that objective and at least threaten 5 dragons later in the game. We were going to take a hook, but no follow-up.
Has the Eye of the Equinox completed for a big load of health there, so still very tanky. Diva, but certainly not the order of items that he's looking for, and just necessary or necessitated into it with the bad back timings.
Yeah, Coco, is he hitting hard here onto Kuzan? Has quite a bit of cash to spend at the moment, but trying to make the most of his blue buff. Kuzan now heads back, will grab a blue buff of his own, and Coco remains in the mid lane.
Unperturbed.
Unperturbed, assiduously killing minions.
Look at us and our big words.
I'm good at that, Papa Smithy. Some call me Sesquipedalian.
Do they though?
They do.
Take your word for it. Delayed further and further every successful gank that delays so on from those core items that will inevitably lead to him having the 1v1 advantage against Lissandra. If it's at 25, 28 minutes and they're 10k gold behind though, it's not as much of a factor.
Yeah, this is great shot calling though. That's who you want to focus right now if you have that opportunity. Take advantage of the Lissandra power spike at 6 and make the most of it to delay this Fiora's growth. It's just going to buy you more time to siege without worrying about a major split push from Fiora.
What a depressing item set. Double Ruby Crystal. Obviously will eventually lead into a Black Click.
Fall Expression picks up the kill. And that's going to be his first as he builds into that Rod of Ages. So on, caught out and alone, falling behind in CS still.
And we mentioned the win condition in the late game, and that's an eventual, that's with items, with levels, and of course, that timer is being reset and